picture. Hello and welcome back. Yeah, I don't have it just yet. Welcome back, everybody. We are back for the senior men's race. Apologies, we had a few technical difficulties getting started, but we are back in the game now. Yeah, a bit of IT equipment issues, but yeah, we seem to be up and running. So we're going to send it and see what happens. You can see the senior men's race has kicked off. So this is senior men, junior men, and under 23 men. All off to a fine start. If you've just joined us, hello. If you checked out the women's race, then hello again. Yeah, we are on. We are going. We are in the woods. Not sure. I think the leaders have just come past the commentary booth, so we will see how everyone else is looking. Yeah, this is the main woodland section. I think this is probably say midfield coming through now. See the pace. That's a quick rider coming through there, looking very smooth and in control. So yeah, quite a bunched up race compared to the ladies so far, and the leaders are just coming past the commentary booth. So yeah, a closer race perhaps than the ladies' race we saw earlier. The rain is easing up, so it'll be interesting to see how the course gets cut up. I've just been out in the break with for a quick walk myself, and it seems as though some new lines have cut in and things. So it'll be interesting to see as some new rocks and routes come out. That's for sure. Things are getting a lot more sketchy. So it'll be interesting to see how the senior men ride this course. It looks as though so far that some of them are taking the A lines rather than the B lines on some of the key sections. So yeah, definitely attacking the course in a different way to how the ladies rode it earlier. It's a great day out earlier for the ladies, so we'll see how the men get on. This is the back end of the field more. And here's some other people coming through. That, I believe, is Thomas Crapper in the senior male race. So, stacked field here. Got a lot of riders. Some having to opt in to push. Maybe they're saving out. This is the first lap you're joining us on, so don't worry. You haven't missed much. Only a little bit. That is Jack G, I think, coming through there. Still riding. Rider in front of him. It's not actually much faster by the looks of it to ride than walk, so we'll have to see how this section unfolds as it gets more cut up. Got a stacked start list here today. All the big names you'd expect to see, especially in the lead up to World Champs. So, yeah, here you go. So everyone coming through, you can see just how busy it is out on course. Riders having to work really hard. Tom coming through again there in the Mag Speed Racing jersey. An absolute classic, very recognisable. Be interesting to see how the race unfolds and how muddy everyone gets and whether I'll be able to recognise people anymore. So we will see how it goes. Got a few other people here electing to push up there. It could be a mechanical perhaps. It's quite a low place to be pushing. Or maybe it's just got more churned up. We'll have to see how the race unfolds and how the track evolves as we go. So we'll wait and see how the leaders are going. Unfortunately, we don't have access to live timing. but we should be able to give you an indication at least of how it is. So this is still lap 1, as we said. A lot of riders coming through here, through this technical section, all looking strong still. Some people in the background are electing to push, save those legs. Right, so we're on looking at the start-finish straight now. See if we can get the men come through at some point. So there's someone coming into shot there. So that is hard to see. I don't think that's the lead group though. I think that may be the midfield. So yeah, the leaders, as far as I'm aware, I think Cameron Orr is out front. I'm not sure. I expect Charlie Aldridge with him and Cameron Mason. I only caught a glimpse of Cameron Orr coming past the commentary booth earlier. So we're back out on the A line, the first A or the second A line. We'll be back soon. I want to start finish straight again, so we can see who's coming through. The rain is killing our signal a bit, so yeah, bear with us. We'll bring you an update when we can. A very wet and wild race still, though, as you can see. The rain is backing off, and the mud is potentially thickening up, so we're going to have to see how this unfolds. Friday night short track was an interesting race if you tuned in. If you didn't, spoiler alert, here it comes. So Charlie Aldridge took the win, and then it was the two Camerons, second and third. I can't remember which order, but they all three had a phenomenal race. It was a tight race. Joe Blackmore as well was in the mix. So the top four, it was basically sprint finish between top four. Charlie went on the last lap to got a bit of a gap actually, and then the last two spots on the podium were fought out between the Camerons. So we're looking at the A line. This is a feature we looked at a lot during the ladies' race. As you see, it's a big roll off the top, and then getting into that stream crossing at the bottom. So we'll wait and see if we catch the leaders coming through or someone. Okay, there's a rider coming into shot, riding fast and smoothly. Who is that? Hard to tell with the mud. That looks like maybe Grant Ferguson. Hard to tell with the mud. There's a lot of Hope Factory racing riders out there today, so I believe the leaders may have already gone through, but Grant having a strong ride nonetheless. A few other riders coming down, definitely getting more dug out as we discussed in the ladies' race. Those rocks coming through, nice and high on the bank there, as we saw Evie and Annie using that bank really well in the ladies' race, and here we have some other athletes coming through as well. So this is about the midfield of the race. It looks like all the lads going really well. Getting into this climb is a long drag, that's for sure. So they get stuck into this, and then they really have to push on up into the next section. This is quite a fast rolling section though, where the mud isn't too thick. It's just really wet. The drier section is actually more claggy and slower, harder going. So it's it's definitely a tough day out. It's going to be hard going on both bodies and bikes. We've actually got someone pushing past the commentary booth already, which is never good to see. I think that might be James from Talk. Yeah, it is. Fortunately, he's pushing. Oh, he's got a puncher. Sad to see him dropping out so early in the race. We'll try and find where the leads are and catch those at some point. But that looks like, unfortunately, talk. Right, anyway, we're still cracking on. Got the lads pushing really hard up at that climb. Great work there. The ride's quite bunched up here. Obviously, it gets more dangerous the closer you ride to the rider in front, because if one makes a mistake, there's nowhere to go. You're not stopping going down there. Really got to commit and trust the rider in front of you. Much like on the road, riding in such close proximity. If one rider goes down, it's curtains for everyone almost. Here's some other riders coming through. So, yeah, just to reiterate, we've got junior, we've got under 23, and then we've got seniors all on course at the same time. So, there's separate jerseys up for grabs, but everyone's on the course at the same time. It'll be interesting to see how close the seniors and under 23, the juniors and under 23s can get to the senior men. Good indication of future performance and giving them the opportunity to step up. Lots of people riding smoothly through here still. We've got a few people coming through past the commentary tent. Someone else pushing, sadly. Looks like another punch. Oh no, snap chain. Definitely taking a lot of toll on the bikes today. Lots of grit. That's Ben Capola going through, junior rider, absolutely flying from Scott, UK. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, check out Giorgio's, his big brother's channel. Really good channel. Lots of interesting racing content. Giorgio had a solid day out in the Masters race, so well done. Yeah, and we're back. Just keep an eye on the riders coming through. A solid drop there from the Rotor Race team rider. Someone going for the beeline. Haven't seen that yet in the men's race. Looking good though. Riding smoothly. A few more riders opting for the B. Maybe they're just trying to give themselves a bit of time. Who knows? We'll see how it unfolds. So I believe the seniors are doing 7 laps. That's what I've been informed, but that's not official. Really making use of the banking there. It's great turn in. And you've got someone else rolling into the A. They're setting up nicely. Smoothly down. Brilliant. Good to see. On the new Scott Spark. Good to have that shock hidden today without all the grit getting in it, because it's going to be an expensive rebuild afterwards, that's for sure. So lots of riders coming through. I think this is our biggest race of the weekend in terms of numbers for both the senior men, juniors, and the under 23s. We've got a lot of riders lined up, which is good. So we'll see who comes through. Just going through the start list, yeah, we've got a lot of riders, which is good to see. Riding smoothly through there, nice and controlled. Everyone's having a good day so far, apart from those that we saw who have had a puncture and a snap chain. Really see the difference in the riders. Oh, that was a bit squiddy. Well held though for the Rotor rider. Back on the gas to get up out of that hole. So, popular spot here. Someone else opting for the B line. That A line. As we said in the ladies' race, it's more intimidating than it looks. It's basically just a roll off of that slab. So it's not that technically difficult, but it's hard to do well and hard to do under fatigue. That rider really struggling there to get in the right gear and things. Having a bit of an off day perhaps. Yeah. Doing well though. Doing well to keep it going, keep it rolling. Checking over his shoulder a lot. Check he's not getting in the way, which is good, because where the lines merge, there's a risk of hitting each other, especially as it gets busier throughout the race. A few more riders coming in here. Keeping it smooth and controlled. Always good to see. Fantastic work. A lot of Rotor riders out today. And yeah, the rain is still coming down, as you can see. People with brollies up. Oh, they've dropped their brollies at the top there. This side of the valley is still got their brollies up. Maybe they haven't realised it's not raining, or it's just come off the trees. Doing a great job there. Someone up there is giving it big beans to get out the valley. Keeping it smooth. This is good to see from all the riders out there today. So yeah, as we were saying, the ladies' race, we've got the senior male who will be looking to, and the juniors, sharpen themselves up for world champs in Glen Tress in I think it's the 12th of August. Yeah, using this a bit of a hit out, a bit of a sharpener, test their form. Obviously, there's the national champs jersey up for grabs, which is a big lad, but they'll also be looking to test their form and see how hard they can go and try and peak for world champs. It's a great opportunity for them to get out there and mix it up today. Yes, whoever takes the jersey will definitely get a big boost going forward into the Worlds. 2 riders close together there, really pushing on. It's interesting because the sport and expert men get mixed up into the senior race, so there's a few wild cards thrown in. Typically they're not as quick because they haven't got as much points and they're not ranked as elite. So it was a great job from these guys. Yeah, they're doing a... Yes, so sorry, I was saying the seniors will be mixed into sport, expert and elite riders, which is really good. So it's a good opportunity for the sport and expert riders to get a flavour of rubbing shoulders with the elite riders and see how their racing can go in the future if they get up into elite. Lots of riders opting for the B line here, going through the stream, which is good for a little bite. I think that's Sam Marshall actually. From Thrash Racing, I believe. Hard to tell, but yeah, if it is, well done, going well. Sport rider, so yeah, he's a good opportunity for him this year to step up and have a go at the racing at the higher level. The way it works is the top 15 riders get promoted out of sport into expert, and then the top 5 expert riders get promoted up into elite each year. So it's a good opportunity for riders to move up into different categories as their experience and points grow. So we've just been informed that the leaders should be coming past fairly soon. So Cameron Orr's just come flying past the commentary booth. He may drop into this rock garden, he may not. And Charlie Aldridge is close behind. Oh, great shot of the A-line there. There we go. So what will they do here? Oh, Cameron Orr, and he's popped into it. Look at that, smooth. Didn't get sucked down to the right. Great ride in there from Cameron. Not an easy line that. I did it yesterday. It's very hard to not get pulled down to that right-hand rut. Didn't actually do it in my race because, yeah, everyone was just crashing on it. So decided to go around. And then we've got, is that Cameron Mason, I believe, in third place. Brilliant. All these front boys are great technical riders. So that is your front three. You've got Cameron Orr out front, Charlie Aldridge in second, and Cameron Mason in third. Cameron Orr got some good form at the moment. He won an Italian Cup race recently. I think it was last weekend. So, yeah, definitely got some good legs. So there's a lot of travelling to get back from Italy. Got a good crowd here on the main A-line, as you can see. Yeah, looking to see if we can catch an action. This is the main technical feature of the course. This is the only A-line you can't roll, so you've got to really commit. You've got to send it off that slab, land on the second slab in the photo, and then get on the brakes to control your speed, and then hit the next section. So yeah, definitely not easy to do. See who comes through next. I think that the front three have got a big old gap. This was the same three that were all together on the short track. So yeah, they are definitely the favourites, as it were, but anything can happen. We've seen a lot of punches and snap chains already. In the ladies' race, everyone finished safely, which was good, with no mechanicals. So who's that coming through? That looks like it could be Cameron Orr still on the front. No, that's a lap rider. Everyone giving it a good nudge, really smashing the pedals, staring at that stem, putting out his watch on the start-finish straight. Rider maybe giving it a bit of a squirt of the chain there, perhaps. You could see on his bottle, trying to keep the direction chain. Jason Boutel just coming past the commentary booth. He looks like he could be in fourth position. Great day out for him if it is. More of a marathon race. He's actually got picked to race world champs at the marathon distance. So, yeah, a lot of great riders out there today. Let's see if we can catch the front few coming through. I think that might have been Cameron Mason who just went past on the start-finish line. We'll have to see once they get into the woods, see if we can get some more footage of them coming over those A lines and B lines. Still quite close together though. Not as spaced out as the women's race. Evie went really early and got a good gap right at the start. The gap between Cameron, Charlie and Cameron was still quite tight when they went past, so we'll have to see how it unfolds. It does look like it stopped raining though, which is nice. Always a good thing. Well, not always, because the mud will get a lot thicker and a lot tackier. So, yeah, if it gets too dry, then the moisture will get pushed out the soil, and yeah, it will start to get clogging, and we'll get issues, mechanical issues with the bikes, even more so than already. So, yeah, we'll have to hope that it dries out a bit, but not too much. So, just trying to find where the riders are out on the course at the moment. Hopefully we can locate them soon to give you an update on how they're doing. Coming past the commentary booth though, we've got some regular names, like we've got Paddy Atkinson doing a great job. We've got Hugh coming through from Welsh Cycling. Everyone getting through smoothly. And we're back in the game. We're at the second A-line now. So as we were saying earlier, this is a big roll. This rider coming in, scrubbing up a bit of speed, then dropping in, keeping it smooth and controlled. It's always good to see. Hopefully the leaders will be through here shortly. I think these are lapped riders. I believe we're on lap 3 now. No, sorry, lap 2. On lap 2 now. And I believe the men are doing 7 laps today. The juniors will do 1 or 2 less. And under 23s will probably do the same. We haven't been informed by the commissaires what the lap count is. So we'll try and find out and get back to you. So waiting and see the leaders come through. Where are they at the moment? The marshals have dropped their umbrellas though, which is always a good sign. Here's someone coming through. That looks like Cameron Orr. Getting a bit wild down there, perhaps. Yes, there's Charlie Aldridge behind him on that Cannondale. So the same bike that Ella was riding in the last race with the classic lefty fork. Cameron Mason should be coming into shot shortly. It looks like they've gapped Cameron Mason a bit. Perhaps he's had an issue, or perhaps he just can't hack the pace at the moment and is playing the long game, thinking they'll maybe fatigue. or maybe he's just trying to gather himself. Yeah, there he is, absolutely flying down there, no worries whatsoever, smashing it. Maybe he's pacing himself better. Have the other two gone out too hard too early, and Cameron's playing the long game and going to reel them back in? I'll have to wait and see. Those are your top three, though. We've got Cameron Orr and Charlie out front together, and then we've got Cameron Mason in third place, having a great day out. See who's in fourth place coming through. It's hard to tell because there are a few lap riders, but the next person to come through should hopefully be the fourth position rider. So there shouldn't be that much lap traffic just yet as we're this early stage of the race. So I have to wait and see. Someone coming to shot soon, hopefully. Still very tight racing at the front for these boys. Some good prize money up for grabs as well for a domestic race. That's worth considering, and the bragging rights for wearing the national champs jersey. Last year, Cameron Orr won the jersey up at Kirritree Forest. Quite a similar course, well, a lot more climbing, but still another technical course. So maybe Cameron Orr is the favourite. I think Charlie's had some good results recently, so it really is quite an open race. We'll have to wait and see how it unfolds. But yeah, it could be a good bet to bet on Cameron Orr. So who's this? This is your chase group, I think. That looks like, okay, so you've got a Trek rider, can't quite make out who that is, and a Hope rider. That looks like Grant Ferguson, I think. We'll have a look at the start list, see if we can find out who the Trek rider is. Can't make out who the Trek rider is, so I have to get back to you on that one. But looks like Grant Ferguson in fourth place. Here's another chaser. That is Jason Boutel, absolutely flying, like we said earlier. So he should be fifth or sixth on the road. Jason Boutel's been racing a lot of marathons this year, obviously because he's qualified for Marathon World Champs, but he's had a phenomenal season racing the Marathon World Cup as well. First year that we've had the Marathon World Cup. Another Hope Factory rider there. Not quite sure who that is. It's quite hard to tell because they've all got the same kit on and all ride very similar bikes. So, yeah, had to wait and see on that one. That might be Joe Blackmore going through just there. He was our fourth place in short track on Friday and potentially your under 23 men's leader. But we'll have to get back to you on that. Still having a great day out. Quite near to the front boys. He was definitely mixing it up with the front boys on Friday night in the short track. Had a great race. Was even leading a few sections and things, but just couldn't quite do it in the end. The senior men had the legs. But no, great day out for all these guys. Going really strong. Hopefully we'll pick up leaders again soon once they get back into the woods. The rain has started coming down again, and it is coming down hard. So that's really good news for the riders. Not so much for the spectators and the marshals, but the riders will be loving that because it keeps the mud nice and thin rather than getting all claggy and sticky. And here the riders are in the woods. Right, this is, so these sort of sections are why they want the rain to come down, because it gets so thick and sticky. But the rain helps. The more moisture in the mud, the thinner it is, which is really good for the riders. So we'll see if we can spot any of our leaders coming through here. You may recognise this section. This is a different angle of where we had the ladies' race being filmed from. So these people coming through here are... Is that some of our leaders? That is... Not. No, that is not some of our leaders. There's some back markers, but I'm sure we'll see the leaders at some point soon. You see the fatigue. Like, it's little things. They're doing a great job, but it's like they want to be running to jump onto the bike rather than slowing down to walk and then getting on. But yeah, fatigue. They're going really deep. Like, it's only lap 2 and you're giving it a good nudge. And if your feet are heavy, your shoes are clogged up. So yeah, definitely not. They're doing a fantastic job. And it's the little things that slip as you start to, or literally slip. That person there just slipped pushing through. Mistakes are creeping. There you go. Some, a bit more of a textbook mount, as we'd say. Yeah, they're really struggling to get through this mud. It's getting thick, isn't it? You can see it sticking to the shoes. Their feet are getting heavy. Very hard work for all these boys. They're doing a great job. Yeah, it's worth noting that there's 3 jerseys up for grabs, as we said earlier. So we could be watching the fight for, say, 2nd and 3rd or something in the junior men's race. But yeah, we can't quite tell because we can't see any numbers. Wide line there to stay on the bike, keep the pedals turning. That's a very good move. Keeping it efficiently. There's a lot of energy, not wasted, but it takes a lot of energy to get on and off your bike. So if you can ride like this, got a massive swap on there. showing just how hard it is to ride this section, but well covered and well held. The second rider electing to push and go round there. You see the bike just getting stuck in the mud, having to drag it out. It has dried out a little bit perhaps, so this rain is definitely a good thing. This is going to help the riders a lot, so hopefully it can penetrate through those leaves and start to get into the forest a little bit and loosen this section up. Otherwise it becomes a bit claggy and it'll get stuck in mechs, wheels stop turning, all sorts of things. A big issue is that it gets stuck to the wheels and then it starts depositing the mud onto the chainstays of the bike, and then what can happen is it can pile up so much that the chain is then running through mud, it gets clogged, doesn't engage the teeth on the chainring, and that's it. Game over then. The chain doesn't stay on, which is never good. There are, however, though, a lot of big puddles on this course, which is good because you can ride through them to clean your drivetrain off and your tyres, so lots of opportunities for that, which is good. And the start-finish straight is also quite clear, so that's a good chance for people to clear their bikes out. Although you've got to be careful, because if you've got electronic gears like myself, in April when we raced here, April or March, one of the two, my electronic gears actually died. They drowned, and I had to get new stuff on warranty from SRAM. So there you go. It's meant to be waterproof, but not quite. That's someone popping through the A-line very nicely, making that look very smooth and controlled. It's definitely not easy. You see the big hole on the right at the bottom there. That is, where the water's collecting. It shows just how blown out it is. All the riders coming through and pushing into that compression. Yesterday it was quite nice, but all the mud's been pushed out, so it's onto rock now. We've seen a lot of punches and a lot of crashes in that bit there. Two riders electing to push this section. Oh, it's Sam Marshall again. He normally races in sport, so he's racing up in senior today. Back to the A-line. We should see some riders coming through soon, hopefully. Good crowd gathered here. Like, no one wants to see a crash, but it is an exciting place to watch, that's for sure. So that's why there's a good crowd gathered there. That's the main A-line that really sorts out the more skilled riders from the less so skilled. Because you can have all the watts in the world, but if you can't ride the A-lines, it's a lot longer to go around. Although this B line we saw in the ladies' race, all the ladies were taking the B because it was far safer, and the risk-reward balance had to be weighed up. So, if we get the leaders coming through soon, hopefully, and we'll be able to see them take this line again and what they're doing. Or maybe, as the weather deteriorates, maybe they'll start taking the B, and as the course deteriorates as well. But the rain should help push the mud off the rocks. You can see how just wet and horrible it is there. The amount of mud on the rocks, so a bit of rain will help wash that off because it just makes the grip even less. Tyre wise, as we were saying in the ladies race, they're probably running a mud tyre. Like, a few people are electing to run a like intermediate sort of tyre, but I think it's so wet now that a mud tyre is the go-to, and the risk of clagging is so great. However though, because of the knobbles on the mud tyre, the issue is that it will fold in corners and also fold when you hit hard objects such as roots and rocks. Like, everyone's worn football boots in a changing room perhaps, or cross-country running spikes. As soon as you hit concrete or you hit the changing rooms, you skid and you fall flat on your bum. So that's the only issue with mud tyres. When you hit, say, a big rock like this, the knobbles skate around and fold, so you lose a lot of traction. Whereas a lower profile tyre, more like a car tyre, say, or a Formula 1 tyre that's slick, they have better contact and better grip on tarmac or hard surfaces such as rocks, but not very good in the mud slicks. All about compromise in mountain biking, whether that's your gearing, your suspension setup. It's all about finding what's the optimum balance for both handling and efficiency. So Cameron Mason is just coming past the commentary hut, as is Charlie Aldridge, right on his rear wheel. They're both going to be dropping into this line shortly if they elect to choose it. If not, then we'll have a look at the B line as per the ladies race. But it looks like they're going to be coming into shot soon. Here's Cameron Orr, nice and smooth down there. Charlie Aldridge as well, nice and controlled. Hear the brakes squealing, all the moisture on there and all the grit getting in there. Crowd getting behind them as well. Don't know if you can hear that. Some good shouting. Now Cameron Mason's maybe being gapped a little bit. Cameron Mason is just coming past the commentary hut now, so a bit of a gap opening up for Cameron Mason. It is a question as well about peaking. Like, maybe the other two guys have peaked a bit early. Maybe Cameron's going to time his peak a bit better for World Champs, because there's still 3 weeks to go. If you peak too early, you can't ride a peak and drag out too long. There's Cameron Mason, great technical rider, making that look very smooth, carrying lots of speed through there, not making it look hard at all actually. Doing a great job, Cameron Mason there in third place. That gap's opened up a bit, but like we said earlier, maybe he's just letting it go. Maybe the boys at the front are going to blow up because they've gone too hard too soon. They're all really smart riders, really good riders, and very experienced, so they know what they're doing, that's for sure. So that is your front three. You've got Cameron Orr, Charlie Aldridge, and then Cameron Mason, a bit of a gap behind, maybe 30 seconds, something like that. Still got a long way to go though, so that gap could come back or it could grow even more, like we saw in the ladies' race. Evie got a hell of a gap in the ladies' race. Had a great race. So yeah, we'll see how it unfolds. Fourth place is nowhere to be seen, so they've got a big old gap over the fourth place. So I expect there could be a chase group for fourth and fifth, etc. Still lots of points up for grab in terms of national rankings. So we'll have to wait and see who's chasing on for fourth, and it's still a long race to go. As they're riding the A line, it's it's challenging, but there's more risk of things going wrong. So one of them could easily get a puncher, and then fourth place could be bumped up to third. So they've got to make their way to the pits. There's 2 tech feed zones on this lap. They're in the same place, but it's like it splits the lap in half, so you can easily access it each time. There's someone coming past. That is number 711. I believe that is not. I believe that's a junior rider. It's not 711. Yeah. Okay. We'll ignore that for a second. So we still haven't seen fourth place in the senior men's race come through. So we'll have to wait and see. They've got a big old gap, the front few boys. That is, I think that's a junior rider. Hard to tell. So I think we may have our chase group, our fourth and fifth position coming through shortly. Grant Ferguson coming through, not number 60. Oh no, that's Grant Ferguson, and then we've got Joe Blackmore. So Joe Blackmore killing it in the under 23s, and Grant Ferguson hot behind. So Joe Blackmore is fourth on the road. Teammate of Ella actually, who came fourth overall and won the under 23s race, and then Grant Ferguson is fourth place, but they are quite a bit behind. We've got Jason Boutel, who should be coming into shot soon, but may take the B line perhaps. Jason Boutel racing the senior race. He's currently fifth in the senior males race. I know Jason Boutel will be dropping the J line to sec. Here he is. Nice and smoothly done over there. Having a great season with his marathon racing as well, and getting selected for Marathon World Champ squad. So a few more riders coming through now. It's getting a bit tighter, so the midfield is still very much wide open. The front three have kind of gone, but barring any issues, could Jason Boutel, as a marathon racer, he's obviously got quite a big engine, so the longer the race goes on, the better. Maybe he didn't get the best start, maybe he's still getting to his rhythm. So he could rein back the other guys perhaps. We'll have to wait and see. Here we are on the start-finish straight again. See who comes through. We should be, I think the front boys have probably gone through already, but we should be catching Jason soon. Maybe Grant as well. As you can see, so the start finish straight. There you go, we've got a rider coming into screen now. This is, not quite sure. Whoever it was, they look like they're going well. Maybe Jason's, he had a white helmet on. And we're back to the A-line in the woods. So who have we got here? We have got, I think that's probably a bit of a, I think that might be a back marker. Just a few people still riding around well. Like we said in the ladies race, there's no 80% rule. So in World Cups and things, if you fall 80% behind the leader, then you get pulled off. But because this is national champs, they'll be allowed to keep riding, but they will be they'll do a lap less basically. So if they're meant to do 5 laps, they'll do 4 because the leaders have lapped them. So once the leaders are finished, they won't be allowed to go off their final lap. Anyway though, great race nonetheless. There's a few people coming into shot here. This looks like the leaders. Yeah, that is... Oh, Charlie Aldridge has gotten round Cameron Orr. Maybe putting a bit of a dig in up this climb. Maybe Cameron Orr let him go through to have a pull on the front up the start-finish stroke, because there was a bit of a headwind and it's a bit of a drag, so it's tactical to do, but then couldn't quite get in the single track. And this is Cameron Mason. Gap looks a little bit smaller perhaps. Maybe Cameron's pulled back a bit of time on that section across the top. There's a technical single track section linking the 2 A lines together. So 4th place, we should expect to see Joe Blackmore, who's actually in the under-23 race, leading that. And then we should see Grant Ferguson, who will be 4th on the road in the senior men's race. That is Sam Marshall. Either he's really cold or he's got very muddy, because it looks like he had full sleeves and full trousers on. It's quite a warm day though. It is very wet, but it's extremely humid. So yeah, it's quite a warm day, which is nice. It's better than when we were here earlier in the year at Tong, when it was freezing cold and soaking wet. Yeah, it's humid, it's wet, but at least you don't get too chilly, which is nice. So, looking at the A line, the chasers should be through shortly. Marshall's has still got the brollies down, which is a sign that it's stopped raining again. It's been very intermittent on-off rain. Yeah, so it's hard to know what to do for tyres and also clothing. For those watching, the racers though, they tend to just get stuck in and wear just general summer gear because you get so wet, it's not going to matter much anyway. Some riders choosing to run the mud tyres, some riders going more intermediate, but most people run the full suspension bike, it looks like. We saw Cameron Orr riding a hardtail on the short track on Friday night, which is a far less technical course, and riders, unlike the World Cup, they are allowed to ride different bikes for different courses, whereas in the World Cup, for short track, you're allowed to ride the same bike as what you ride in the cross-country Olympic race on the Sunday. So, no one coming into that line just yet. We'll have to wait and see. Looks like there's a bit of wind still up there, which will be drying the course out as well. So we'll have to see if it starts to clag up on those horrible sections anymore. Who's this coming into shot? This is... It looks like Joe Blackmore. Yep. Nope, it's not. Oh, that is the junior Trek rider that we couldn't quite identify earlier. I think he may have a puncher, or he's pushing something. Another rider coming through. Hopefully that wasn't a puncher. Seems to be pointing at his rear wheel a bit though. Someone else dropping into here. That looks like Grant Ferguson. Oh, sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze then. That looks like Grant Ferguson coming through there. So, where is Joe Blackmore? Either he's gone through and we haven't seen him, or he's had a bit of an issue. Hopefully not. Someone coming into shot now. That looks like... Yeah, that looks like Joe Blackmore. Yep. No, definitely. Oh, it's Jason Buttel. So, Jason Buttel is closing up to Grant Ferguson. Grant was fourth on the road in the senior male race, and looks like he's chasing down Grant. So, can he make the gap? Unlike a World Cup, there's only 3 podium places up for grabs. So, yeah, they'll be really fighting for those top 3 spots. It doesn't go up to 5th like in the World Cups. So, everyone will be pushing really hard to try and get on the box today. Perhaps Grant Ferguson and Jason Buttel will put Cameron Mason in danger and nudge him out of contention. The front 2 look like they may have gone, but it's a long way to go yet. We're only on lap 3 of 7. Lots of other riders coming through, going very well. That hardtail rider, like we said, most people opt in full suspension, but some people are out there on hardtails. Although it looks like he's looking down. Oh, he's got off his bike. Looks like maybe a chain off or a puncture perhaps, which is sad to see. Always ruins your day, and it's never easy to fix when it's covered in mud. Much easier in the dry. So, wait and see who comes through. You see on the left-hand side of that, the A line, that rut's getting more and more dug out. Be interesting to see if any of the guys start taking a different. So that line there, the rider's right, he went over the slab rather than through the gap. I believe that is Hugh from Welsh Cycling. Just caught a glimpse of Wales on his shorts. That is, if I'm on the start list. Either way, he was going through looking very strong. Hugh Buck-Jones, that was it, I believe. Having a good day out here at National Champs. There is actually one of the last races of the season is the Welsh Champs. So, yeah, if you are Welsh, get yourself over to the Welsh Champs in September the 10th, I believe. Yeah, if you fancy that, get your chance to win yourself Welsh Champs jersey. If you're not Welsh, you can still go. I've gone myself in the past and raced it. Just you can't win the jersey if you do win. Great day out though. Not sure where it is. I think it's in North Wales somewhere, so it's quite a drive, or depending on where you come from. You can hear the brakes squealing, probably. Yeah, brake pads being eaten. I think I need a whole new bike after this weekend. It's pretty chewed up. It's sounding like a bag of spanners. Like the gears grind, the brakes squeal. It's not good. The suspension is like notchy. Yeah. It's been a long season of racing. We started racing in March, although there were a few rounds in January and February as well. There was a 3-hour race in January that I did, and lots of other riders used to do to blow off Christmas. And then, rider coming through there, making use of all the back. There was a great amount of speed carried through. And then the first actual round was in February, and then we had the first national in March. So yeah, it's been a long season for a lot of people. So riders definitely keen to take a break. Obviously, the ones racing world champs will not be taking a break. They'll be getting stuck into that and keeping training hard. And the World Cup then goes overseas, goes to the US for the latter rounds of the season, where both the Camerons and Charlie Aldridge will be racing. Charlie's, I believe, is his first year on Cannondale Factory Racing, so he's stepped up, working with the Cannondale team, and Phil Dixon, who's the technical and fitness coach for Cannondale, helping out a lot of riders. So, still seeing the other riders come through, everyone getting through this safely. It's good to see that we've had no crashes so far on this section. Touchwood, it's quite high speed, difficult as well, as it the rocks that you can see obviously get more dug up, and then every time a rider goes through, it pushes more soil out of the stream at the bottom and exposes more rocks. Well, not soil, silt in the stream, isn't it? But yeah, just more likely to puncture and things. Perhaps really hard as well, because as your hands get more wet, it's harder to grip the bars. So G'ing out at the bottom and hitting the big G forces as you hit that compression at the bottom, it's hard to hang on to the bike and keep it pointing straight. Great work from all these riders though, giving it a real big nudge. Definitely not easy. About halfway through the race, or just under halfway through the race at this point. So it's a very long race. Expecting 90 minutes. That's what the commentators aim for. Plus minus a little. I think it's 10 minutes. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We've got a few riders coming in close together. This looks like it could be a battle in one of the supporting races, such as juniors. Two riders flying. That as a Hope rider. That might be Max Greensill. I could be wrong though, because it's hard to tell. Everyone covered in mud. Either way though, people having a great day out. The national champs actually been really good despite the wet weather. It seems like every national champs has to rain. Kiritri Forest last year was raining as well, and a little bit damp, but overall there's always a great atmosphere at the races. So just wait and see if anyone comes into shot here. Hopefully we can switch to a different camera soon and give you an update on where the leaders are as well. Catch up with the front group as they make their way through the wooded section. Like these features that we're looking at on the screen are obviously very technical, but it's other technical features as well, such as just general riding freedoms. And right, Charlie Aldridge just come past the commentary tent, and Cameron Orr is chasing. So Charlie has put a big gap. I say a big gap. It's probably about 5 seconds, 10 seconds into Cameron Orr. And then Cameron Mason is chasing back on. It looks like he's closing the gap up. So maybe Charlie's gone and maybe Cameron Orr is blowing a bit. We'll just see. They've just gone over the main rock drop that we saw last lap. There's been some noise from the crowd. So maybe there's been a bit of a crash. Hopefully we can switch angles and catch what's going on. Sadly, the weather is disgusting today. And it's killing. Oh, there we go. Oh, we lost it again. We're in a different section now though, but it's all good. We'll see them come through shortly. This section, I'm trying to recognise where it is. I can't remember this part of the course. It's funny looking different angles. Rider often pushing, probably a mechanical issue because it looks quite fast rolling this part. Not good when you've got to push all the way to the pits. That is, I'm not sure who that is, but they're on a hardtail and they've got a puncher, which is not a surprise. Definitely, because every impact, there's nowhere for the forces to go when you are on a hardtail. So, yeah, it's never good to see. And here he is pushing. He's just coming past the so this is just the build up to the commentary booth. This section here, the leaders have gone through. Like we said, we think we've seen Cameron Orr do a bit of a fall off the wheel of Charlie Ulrich a bit. Some more riders coming through, giving it a good push. Looking strong, pushing on through this section. See if we can get a glimpse of Grant Ferguson or Jason Boutel. They were the chase group that we had with Jason closing in on Grant. Have to wait and see. So this section here is actually at the top of. You've got a few nasty climbs. They're not big, but it's because it's so wet and claggy, like we saw earlier on the live stream. It was it was just not good. So we need to pace ourselves for this race, that's for sure, and try and keep everything rolling. So we'll see if we can get them into shot sometime soon. It shows just how fast the Camerons and Charlie are going, the amount of time they've put into the chase group just in this short period. But like we said, it's a long race, anything can happen. And Jason is more of a diesel. That looks like that's Grant Ferguson going through. I could be wrong. I'll have to wait and see. Yes, it is, I believe. It's hard to tell, so you're so covered in mud. No, it's not. That is Joe Blackmore. So Joe Blackmore, an absolute flyer. Joe Blackmore still fourth on the road. And yeah, we must have missed him between the cameras last lap. So we'll see where the chase group Grant and Jason are. These are some lappers by the looks of it. Still doing well though, giving it a good nudge. Great work from these guys. Carrying lots of speed. We'll just see who comes into shot next. It's actually, believe it or not, the more puddles are, the better. They are coming through the rock gardens. So this is the B line for the drop that we normally see. Yeah, most riders in this race are electing to take the A because it is that little bit quicker, but it requires that little bit more skill, and as you get more fatigued, it gets harder each lap, as well as the course conditions deteriorating as well. So someone's giving it a big nudge along here. Who's these guys? Absolutely flying. So we'll try and work out. I believe that was Grant coming through in the middle there. We'll see if they drop into the B by the commentary booth. Yes, that is Grant Ferguson. So Grant Ferguson, 4th place in the senior men's race. So is Jason Boutel chasing on. He's got 2 riders with him. They could be lappers, but they're going quite quick as well. So they could be junior riders or under 23s. Unfortunately, I couldn't make out their numbers or their kit because it's so disgusting. So apologies for that. We'll try and get you some updates on those other races as well. But for now, the focus is on the senior men's race. So Jason appears. Oh, who is that coming through? That's Jason. Short, yep, with the white sleeves. Not very white at the moment. But given it, the pace of Jason is absolutely flying. He's come past, breathing heavy. Looking strong though. And in control. Trying to close back to Grant. Jason going for the B line there. Making it look smooth though. That's a safe option. We timed it yesterday during practice, and there's about 2 seconds difference between this B line and the A line, which we saw Camerons do earlier. Now, obviously 2 seconds a lap adds up if you're doing 6 or so laps. That's 12 seconds, isn't it? But that assumes you pin it every time you get it right, so there's much more risk for getting it wrong, especially if fatigue kicks in. And you've got to think of the whole section, because the B line, like we saw in the ladies' race, does set you up with a far straighter run out. That is Charlie. Just so we flip back to the A line, and that's a back marker, but Charlie Aldridge looks like he's got a big old gap over Cameron Orr now. That's Cameron Mason. So either we've missed Cameron Orr, or maybe Cameron's gone out the front. But we just saw Charlie Aldridge and Cameron Mason come through. This looks like Cameron Orr with a blue helmet, perhaps. No. Oh yeah, it is. There he is. Cameron Mason raced for the Italian Willia team, Willia Pirelli. Yeah, hence all his Italian results. But here he's dropped back to 3rd now. So he was out in front and he's dropped off to 3rd place. So has he popped a bit? Has he had a mechanical issue perhaps and needed resolving? Or is it something simple like gears just rubbing? Little things cost you a lot of time. As the grit gets in there, say the indexing of your gears wears. Yeah, those sort of things add up and can lead to big gaps. Because at the pointy end of this sport, like 1% is a big difference, isn't it? Especially when all the racing is so close. So yeah, Charlie Aldridge out in front. Cameron Mason pushing back up to 3rd place, looking like he's getting back into his groove a bit after dropping off previously. Or maybe just paced it a bit. Maybe he made the wise move and rode a better race. But we're still a long way to go. This is lap 4 now. So this is the halfway point. Legs will be burning. Lungs will be burning. Everything will be hurting. But the riders will still be going strong. This is where nutrition really starts to kick in now. Riders trying to stay on top of their fueling. With carbs and things to stop themselves bonking, running out of energy during the race. Hydration is also important because, like I said, it is quite warm today. It's humid as well, so sweat loss will be quite a lot. And the mud, once the mud does cool you as it dries, like it limits, or it doesn't. It has a negative effect on your ability to sweat to a degree because your skin's so clogged up with mud. It's difficult for the sweat to get out. So yeah. But I think convective cooling from how wet the riders are with the wet mud should balance it all out. But hydration is still paramount. Rider coming smooth in through here. Great job there. Looking good. all the riders doing a really good job riding this section, difficult section, very smoothly. So we'll see if we can spot Grant Ferguson and Jason Boutel, as well as Joe Blackmore, who's leading the under-23s race. Joe Blackmore having a phenomenal race, because not only is he 4th overall, including the senior men, but he also had a disadvantage with the start, because the under-23 race is set off separately to the senior men's. So I'm not sure who that is, just a lapped rider coming through. And that, speaking of Joe Blackmore, there he is, flying like Cannondale, the lefty fork, like we said about earlier. Really interesting. Like, it is lighter, some say, because of it being one leg, but there's a weight. Well, there's a lot of weight in it still, because it's a single-legged fork, so you've got to make it a lot stiffer. And instead of bushes, they are supposed. I haven't taken one apart, but apparently they use more like bearing type features in there to make it stiff enough on the single leg. So yeah. It's all, like we said earlier, a game of compromise in this mountain bike racing. But Joe Blackmore is not, well, he's flying on it. And Charlie's on the same bike as well. So maybe Cannondale's one. And you get really good mud clearance as well on one leg fork. You can't clog that up very easily. So maybe. And Ella, we saw earlier as well. So Team Inspired having a great day, as well as Cannondale Factory Racing having some very solid results. So we should have Grant Ferguson and Jason Boutel in the pictures shortly as well, because they were quite close. That looks like... Not sure who that is. That is an unassigned Trek rider. I think he may be a junior rider, but he's going very well. We can't quite make out who he is, so apologies for that. But well done, whoever you are. We'll keep searching and see if we can work it out. Right, another rider dropping in here. That not sure who that is. Going well nonetheless. Dropper back up. All the riders are running dropper seat posts as far as I can tell. That is Grant Ferguson going through, I believe. Quite a tall, distinct character, so easy to spot. So Jason Boutel should also be along shortly too. Yeah, so we've got really stacked fields today. Everyone running droppers, like I was just saying. So dropper seat post, for those of you tuned in that aren't familiar, is you can push a button, sit on the seat, and it pushes it down like the way. So this is Jason Boutel with his white sleeves, I believe. No, it's not. It's someone else. Someone else entirely, so ignore me. Did a good job of it, though. Yeah, drop a seat post just gives you that room to manoeuvre and that headset. Oh, that's the first crash we've seen. So that was very easy to do, because you're trying to carry all that speed to get up that uphill. Yeah, and it's just, you're really pushing close to that barrier. There's Jason Boutel, I believe, just gone through. So luckily he didn't get caught up by that incident. Spin back around. So there's our top 5 still unchanged. So we'll see if we can pick up the leaders somewhere else on course. Still very close at the front, although we saw Cameron Orr fade in a bit. Brollies are still down. So there is no rain, so the course is drying again. Nice and smooth line. That middle line is probably a bit better, actually. So it's obviously less intimidating to hit the rocks, but that rider just there who rode the middle line, that's maybe a bit safer, maybe a bit smoother, because that channel on the left is getting very deep now, so it could get to the stage where people start catching mechs. Probably not pedals, it's not that deep, but you never know. And because it's so steep in a straight line, there's nothing you can do. Once you're in. So unless it's all about the setup at the top, scrubbing off that speed, getting the bike settled, and then letting go and just sending it like that, boom, very fast and efficient. So yeah, some great riding on show here today. The more talented riders are definitely preferring this course than some of the riders that have perhaps come from the road and things that perhaps lack the skills and bike handling. Because yeah, it's all, you can have all the watts in the world, but if you can't ride around the corner or ride down things like this, then you're going to be at a disadvantage. So hopefully we'll pick up leaders again in a bit, and we'll give you an update on how it's going, whether Charlie Aldridge is giving it a big nudge and gone, and whether Cameron Mason's hang with them. Another rider coming through. I think that's Stevie James, also from Hope Factory Racing, on the old Scott Spark. So same bike as Grant, but just an old version. The bike I ride myself, actually. So, looking at the gully still. A few more riders coming through. Steve James is racing in the senior males race, so he's having a good hit out. And yeah, a few other riders passing through there. Definitely still muddy. It's not drying out fast enough. But it wouldn't be national champs in the UK without rain, would it? So there we go. This course is a great stepping stone because it's a nice technical course. Some courses are quite tame in the UK, but this is a good one with lots of technical features because this is, well, it's the pinnacle of UK racing. It's national champs. This is meant to be the creme de la creme, as they say, and also this is the stepping stone for the juniors and seniors to go off to World Cups. Like, it's one thing becoming national champion here, but then to go do it at European or even World Cup level is a very different kettle of fish indeed. So you've got to be able to learn to race on these sort of training. It's one thing going out and riding it on a Saturday with your mates. It's another thing entirely to do it under fatigue and stress and pressure of racing. Another Hope rider going through there. A-line still running smoothly. Aha. We are into the woods. Now this, even though it looks disgusting, because it's wet, it means it runs a lot faster. So, like we saw earlier, the slow, claggy sections, the sections that almost look dry, are the hard ones to ride. So, what if you see puddles and thin mud like this, you're having a great time. So this is actually a really good thing when you're riding, a bit of a relief to see. So who is this? Is this one of our front runners, or is this... No, this is just someone. Not quite sure who that is. But someone's coming through at pace behind. That looks like Charlie Aldridge, perhaps. Yeah, that is Charlie Aldridge. It's hooning it, and Cameron Mason in tow, I believe. Yep, there's Cameron Mason. And is this Cameron Orr, perhaps? Clinging not? No, Cameron Orr. That's not Cameron Orr. So, Charlie Aldridge and Cameron Mason got a bit of a gap to Cameron Orr now. Over the drop is Charlie Aldridge. Smoothly done. Look at that. That is why Charlie is a World Cup rider. Well, all the front three are, but yeah, shows you the difference between the people that are doing the B versus the A, and the skill level as well as the fitness they have. No sign of Cameron Orr still. We'll keep an eye out for him, but yeah, he has not come through yet. So has something happened, perhaps mechanical, or just blowing up? We will have to wait and see. Like we said, Cameron Orr is the current national champion, so if he doesn't get back up front, he will lose his jersey, unfortunately. With national champs jersey, the rider gets to wear it for a year after they win it at races. So that's both World Cups and domestic races. But after that, you are no longer allowed to wear it, which is fair enough. So you've got to fight for it every year. So once you've won it once, you wear it for a year, then hang it on the wall in a frame or something with pride. But no, it's a very close race still. This looks like Cameron Orr. The head is bobbing a bit, maybe a bit of fatigue kicking in, still grinding away. Doing well. It's probably a 30-second gap now, I'd say, something like that. Really pushing. Going deep. So he's coming into the A-line in a sec. We might be able to see him take the A-line. Here he is. So here comes Cameron Orr. Nice and smooth up. It's hard because you've got to come up onto that and it's completely blind. Then you've got to ride down this smoothly. Great work there from Cameron Orr, though. Making it look easy. So the big question is now, where is fourth? Well, Joe Blackmore was the unofficial fourth place because he's an under-23 racer, but where is the on-the-road fourth and fifth of Grant Ferguson and Jason Boutel? I believe the prize money does go up to fifth place, so it's still worthwhile hanging on to fifth place, even though you don't get a medal. They'll definitely be thinking that it's not big prize money, you're not going to pay your mortgage on it, but it will definitely help with fuel and accommodation and things like that. Help the riders break even. Like a lot of these riders they're racing for money, but it's definitely... not their full-time job for some of them. The likes of Cameron Orr, Cameron Mason, Charlie on the factory teams are definitely getting a lot of support. But the people like Grant Ferguson and Jason Boutel, they're having to work as well alongside. So I know Jason Boutel works as an electrician on the side to fund his racing. So yeah, it's great to see him out here mixing it up with the big boys whilst also working part-time as well. So actually, if you fancy it, there's the A-Line podcast where we speak to a lot of these riders and find out about their racing and training. That looks like Joe Blackmore just gone through. Yeah, Joe Blackmore coming around now, leading the under-23s race. So he's going to drop into that A-line shortly. But yeah, if you haven't checked it out, check out the A-line podcast. We chat to a lot of these riders, find out what makes them tick. Oh, Joe Blackmore opting for the B-line that time. Interesting. Joe decided the juice isn't worth the squeeze and going for the safe option. Like if you punch her, it's not worth the time saving, is it? So who have we got here? Is that maybe... No, we'll wait and see to see when Grant Ferguson comes through. A few people really giving it a good push up there, though. It's really like sections like that are where you make a lot of time. Obviously, there's the big climbs on the course. Well, there's one big climb on the course where you need to give it a good nudge, but it's riding solidly throughout. You can't just give it a big nudge on the climb and then go slow everywhere else. You need to pace yourself and ride smoothly everywhere. That's another thing where the top riders will save a lot of energy. They just make fewer mistakes and are able to just carry speed better. So, yeah, that's a big factor that needs to be considered as well. But lots of riders out here having a very strong day out. And everyone looks like they're having fun. They're smiling behind the mud, I think. It's hard to tell, but I think they're smiling. But yeah, if you fancy the Airline podcast, check it out. And we've spoken to Cameron Orr and Cameron Mason in the past. We haven't had Charlie Aldridge on yet. So, Charlie, if you want to come on, give me a shout. Or Charlie's dad or manager, whoever's listening. But yeah, we also talked to like some of the mechanics, some of the coaches, nutritionists, all sorts. So yeah, drop in, give us a listen. Yeah, just easiest place to find that is on Instagram. So we've got someone giving it a good nudge up here, stomping on the pedals, looking really strong. Not sure who that is. Their helmet's white, and that's about it. That's all we can see and say. Could be a lap rider or just someone leading, say, the junior race perhaps. But either way, they're going very strong. Got a few people coming through here, bit of traffic perhaps. Lap riders moving out of the way, which is good. Not influencing the race in a negative manner. It's good to see such a strong, deep field. Like in the women's race, we saw a good depth of field, good future potential and things. And it's great to see that in the men's race too. So these are the future World Cup racers. Leo White going through in the senior race. I think he may be under 23 actually. I'll have to check the start sheet. But having a great year. He's actually going to be stepping up this year. He's one to watch, Leo White. So yeah, be prepared for that. Yeah, Leo White's under 23. So he's not winning, but Joe Blackmore's winning the under 23 race. But Leo White having a great day out. Yeah, stepping up. We've got a few riders coming through now. That is Grant Ferguson has just come through. Someone here giving it a big nudge. Oh, the head's bobbing and stuff there, dropping the watts, putting the effort in there. So this is Grant Ferguson coming through the water guard, looking smooth. A lot of clunking and grinding of gears. Hopefully nothing serious. Hopefully just a bit of mud that you can get cleaned off. In the pits, the mechanics, like we said, are handing out nutrition and gels, water bottles, etc. But some of the riders may also be electing to squirt their gears with water. Yeah, big factor today will be things like a lot of riders choosing to silicone spray their bikes before the race to help stop the mud sticking to it, lubricate it a bit, as well as choosing a wax instead of a chain oil because less dirt sticks to it. So that's something else to consider. And a top tip for people at home: think about waxing your chain for next season, maybe. Well, not just do it once all season, but experiment with it over the winter and see how it goes. So we've got some riders coming through here now. Is this our lead group, perhaps? Not quite. I think we may have missed the lead group, but they're looking strong nonetheless. They're going hard. Could well be some juniors. Got Jason Buttel just come past the commentary booth, so he is still chasing Grant Ferguson. The gap looks about the same. So having a great day out, Jason. Still, top 5 remain unchanged. A lot of riders coming through here, but past the commentary spot, but no one on the feed on that A line just yet. We'll see how the race unfolds. I believe they're now on lap 4, so nearly there, well over halfway. It's looking dry still. The stream crossing still running smoothly. No incidents apart from that one guy hitting the barrier earlier on this technical section. It's interesting, the rock is very grippy up here. I don't know, I'm not a geologist, maybe it's granite or something, but yeah, some places you go to race and the rock is quite slippery, but this is it's almost like sandpapery, which is nice because when you're hitting it and jumping off it like that, then it's it gives you a bit more confidence, a bit more grip. So we'll see if we can capture. I think the front 3 have a big gap. They should be coming through soon. I don't think we've missed them because given that Grant just came through past the commentary spot, they should be around here any second. So they've got to do all to start finish straight. Be interesting to see if Cameron Mason and Charlie Aldridge can make a bit of a gap on Cameron Orr still. They can work together potentially up the start finish straight. There's quite a headwind on that straight, so it definitely pays dividends if you can work together and sit in, save a bit of energy. So we'll have to see if they are still together. Here comes someone into shot. Looks like not one of our front runners, but someone having a good day out still nonetheless. We'll wait and see to see if they come in. No one on screen just yet, but bear with us. It'll be along shortly. Like we said, really close racing here. Much closer than the ladies' race. The ladies, Eva Richards just went and was not seen again. Isla Short came in second, and then Annie Last in third place. There's a big gap between each one, probably about a minute between each one, which is quite unusual. But yeah, it just goes to show what form Evie was on. Well, all the ladies. But like we said earlier, maybe some of them are peaking for world champs. Maybe some of them have mistimed their peak. We'll have to see. Evie did a similar tactic on the short track though, where she just went off the front and that was it. She was gone. Charlie Aldridge though and Cameron Mason seem to be much closer together. So Charlie on Friday night left it until the last lap before he decided to make his move and go off the front. It was a sprint finish between Cameron Orr and Cameron Mason for second and third. So will Charlie play a tactical game again today? Will he let Cameron sit with him, assuming he's feeling stronger, for the rest of the race and then give it a sprint finish, or maybe go on the last lap, or will he try to break him early? We'll have to wait and see. Or is Cameron Mason an absolute flyer? It really is anyone's race. Rider coming in here smoothly down there, very nicely done. You can see the sign, caution trails merging. That's because the B line feeds into the A, and the rules are that if you're on the B line, you have to stop and give way to the A line. So that's something else to consider. If you decide to take a B line in a race, that not only may it be slower going all the way around, but if you also meet someone coming out of the A, you've got to stop, which obviously costs you a lot of time as well, and you'll lose a lot of momentum. So all things that these riders will be taking into consideration. That looks like Charlie Ulrich actually. There he is, yes. And that Candale Factory Racing Team, he's gone. He's up that climb, carrying a lot of speed. Cameron Mason not far behind though. Cameron Mason looking good. Notice how Cameron Mason sits down into that corner to really push and drive the bike in. Maybe he's getting a bit tired, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. Both riders looking strong still though, and really smooth. This looks like just a lap rider at the moment from one of our other races on a hardtail. Great work there. Hardtail's definitely making for a rougher ride. It's interesting, the whole hardtail full suspension debate. Nowadays, full suspension bikes are so light. I think the days of the hardtail could be numbered, but we'll have to wait and see. There'll always be a market for them, for budget bikes and for say winter bikes and things like that, because there's less to go wrong, and purists that enjoy the ride of a hardtail. But for racing, I think that the future is definitely full suspension for grip in terms of both descending and climbing. And just eliminating rider fatigue, because vibration causes fatigue. And on a hardtail, the only thing absorbing the vibration is your feet. Well, for the back wheel only. The front wheel, obviously, your front suspension. But yeah, otherwise it's all going through your legs and your lower back. So yeah, trying to keep your head still basically and stop your brain from rattling around. Whereas full suspension bike, you got a little bit of cushion. Most people are on a 100 or 120 mil full suspension bike. We have seen increases in suspension the last few years in terms of suspension travel. Previously 100 mil was thought to be that's enough, but as World Cup tracks in particular have evolved, we've gone up to 120. There was a small weight penalty associated with that, so the bike Grant Ferguson's riding is, like we said earlier, the Scott Sparks. Grant Ferguson's bike may be heavier than Stevie James's bike, the old Scott Spark, but has 20mm more suspension. So yeah, small price to pay, but it may be worth it for that extra bit of comfort. Oh, getting a bit rowdy down there, bit of a swap on almost, but great work nonetheless. Held on to it well, didn't panic. It's hard as well coming into something so steep and then going out the bottom, because you're going down and then you can't really, your neck only goes so high, so it's hard to look up and pick your line coming out of it. Yeah, all the riders doing a great job. No sign of our chase group yet. Or Cameron Orr, we may have missed it. That may have been him that just went through, but it didn't look quite like him, not his style. Hard to tell with the mud. But if it's not him, he's got a big gap now. So we're going to have to wait and see where Cameron Orr is. Hopefully he's gone through and hasn't faded too much and hasn't had a mechanical or something. Some rider coming into shot now. We'll see who this is. They think they've gone. No, they've gone for the B line. So that's probably not one of our leaders, as most leaders are electing to take the A lines. That is, yep, another rider. Not sure who. Doing a great job though. Ah yeah, here's a B line. Oh, someone made a mistake on the B line. Oh no. That's Joe Blackmore who got caught up in that. So that was very unfortunate. But yeah, the Beeline rider made a mess of that little hill, and then cost Joe Blackmore. So Joe Blackmore's lost not only a bit of time, but he's lost all his momentum, and this is quite a long draggy climb coming out of here, so he's going to have to give it an extra nudge to get up to speed again. So that's burning an extra few matches in his legs, which is obviously less than ideal when you're trying to chase down some of the best riders in the world. Well, definitely the best in the country, maybe some of the best in the world. So we think Cameron Mason has just come past the commentary hut. He may have passed Charlie, unless we've missed Charlie come past the commentary hut. We'll have to get back to you on that one and wait and see. Either way, it's an action-packed race, that is for sure. Lots of riders coming through, everyone giving it a great effort. Not an easy day out to ride your bike, that's for sure. Everyone going really well. Even the people at the back, they're still smashing on. This guy is grinding those pedals up there. Great effort. Here comes someone, he's giving it a good nudge. Getting a bit wobbly, but going well. Not sure who that is, but yeah, great effort. Lots of riders. Some riders have dropped the sunglasses, you may see. It's hard because the amount of spray coming off wheels, the sunglasses quickly get dirty, so you can't see. So at least the factory riders will have multiple pairs in the pits and be able to change glasses each lap. But if you've only got one pair, then you kind of have to live with it or go without. So yeah, you could end up with a lot of mud in your eyes. There's a rider coming through here, very animated, stomping on the pedals. That might be... Is that Joe Blackmore or is that Charlie Aldridge? He's going to come past the commentary hut in a sec, so I'll be able to tell you. That is... impossible to tell. Not sure who that was. On a Cannondale bike, which is what I thought it was them. That coming over the start finish line is, yeah, I think that was a back marker. Yeah. So we haven't seen, we saw Cameron come past recently, but we haven't seen Charlie or Cameron Orr. Speaking of oars, that is no-handed riding, getting a snack. Hard to tell. Don't think that was one of our front runners though. Riding so casually, solo. So we'll see who comes over the start finish line next. It has stopped raining, which is good. All the umbrellas are down. Looks like it's still running smoothly, the course, which is good to see. Wondering if, I think we've lost camera batteries out in the woods, but we'll wait and see. The rider coming over the start finish line now. This is, the course is very rough, so this is the main point. They can take on nutrition. So the rider getting the gel in there, which is a good call. Cameron Orr's just come past the commentary booth, along with Grant Ferguson, I believe. So Grant Ferguson, Rian and Cameron Orr, perhaps. Have to check the cameras when we get opportunity, but we'll definitely see them cross this start finish line. Two riders coming through, sitting up a bit, taking the opportunity. It is important because sections like that, obviously you could really smash the straight and get a lot of watts out and go quite quickly, but in terms of recover, you have to recover on these sections too where you can. So that's why we see a lot of riders taking their hands off, having a gel, having a drink, get on top of that nutrition again. A great race unfolding. It's definitely shuffling about a lot, the order. I think that was a back marker coming through there. Another rider coming into shot now. Lots of riders riding very smoothly. Putting a lot of power out on those pedals. That, not sure who that was. Maybe Jack G? It's hard to see. Hard to see, but they're going very well. We may see some finishers soon as well, as the juniors do less laps than the senior men and the under-23s. Probably can't hear it, but sat in the commentary booth, you can hear a lot of bikes grinding their way down the course. Going to be a lot of new chains, I think, tomorrow going on, and new brake pads, as well as bearings getting eaten alive. Rider pushing through, adjusting his shoe. So as you get colder, your feet shrink. So yeah, people will need to adjust their shoes as the race goes on, I expect today, as well as there being wet patches that suck your shoe in, running and pushing and work your shoe loose. So yeah, adjustments needed. Got some great footage of the start finish line here. Riders really pushing on. As you can see, they got the British Cycling hut on the left hand side, so something that got introduced this year was race numbers on the sleeve of the riders. So all the riders you probably can't see because of the mud and also where they're sat. That is someone pushing very hard along there. They've got a number on their right arm as well as a number on their bike and a number on their back, because it's impossible to see who was who. Everyone's doing really well here. You can see the commentators for the event on the side there. They've got the start list printed out on a massive board, and they will be doing some commentating. So I think because they've moved over to the start-finish line, they'll be commentating on a race finishing. So we'll have to see who is coming around next. So far, yeah, we should be near the end actually, because it's almost been an hour and a half. So we started at 3:30 and it's nearly 5 o'clock. So they're getting ready to announce the winner, I think, of one of the categories. They must have had feedback from the live timing that someone's coming in. They're peering over the barrier. There's a couple of riders coming into shot. Can't quite make out who they are. They're not jostling for... Yeah, they're not sprinting to finish or anything. They're going out for another lap. So, yeah, that's not quite who we're looking for, perhaps. You see the tyre logos on the side there, Schwalbe or Schwalbe, however you pronounce it. It depends on where you're from. We'll call it Schwalbe for now. No doubt I'll get rinsed in the comments for that. But yeah, any riders coming through? No, there's not any of our front runners, I don't think. But yeah, they've got a stand here and have been very busy this weekend, as you can imagine, with the changeable conditions. Lots of people making tyre changes. Another big thing people will play with this weekend is pressures. Very difficult to get tyre pressures right on this course because of all the rocks, but then also all the not loose sections, the muddy sections. Higher tyre pressure is obviously better because you're less likely to pinch flat or catch them on the rocks. And then also, who's that going through? That might have been Charlie Aldridge, perhaps. No, it can't have been. He hasn't come past the commentary. Ignore me. That was just someone unassigned. But yeah, lots of riders struggling with tyre pressure, I expect, because they've been selling a lot of tyres, and tyre pressures because you don't want it too low so it flats on the rocks, but then you don't want it too high so it's got no grip in the mud. So yeah, it's definitely a bit of a happy medium. You see the commentator signalling 1 lap. So I believe that was maybe Cameron Orr. It looks like his kit's going through, so 1 lap to go. Maybe the bell has been lost. So they normally ring a bell on the start-finish line. We'll have to wait and see. We're getting near the end of the race because we started at 3:30 and it's almost been an hour and a half. So I imagine it's the last lap. We think the riders just gone out onto the last lap. Got a few people coming through here. We think that maybe Charlie Aldridge has made a big break. No, Cameron Mason, sorry, was out front when we last saw him, but we'll have to wait and see. We've got a really good spot here for the commentary booth. Not at the start-finish line, but it's near the main A-line. The last feature before the finish, basically. So this is a great space to be because we can see what people do before they get stuck in to that last feature. It may be that they want to be first into this rock garden, play tactical. The riders will think about tactics a lot because if they are if they're more technically talented, they may elect to push in front on a climb and really dig deep to get first place into a single track. Or if they're not so technically talented, they may push up really hard up, say, a fire road before into single track so they can hold up other riders, which is another tactic riders often use. So we'll have to wait and see. Just trying to locate where the riders are on the course now. It is very busy, as you can see, like we said earlier. Great to see such a stacked field out and about. Hard to tell who is who, though, with all this mud. And no timing chips. The numbers are non-existent, basically, I believe. Big clean-up job. There's jet washers everywhere. Definitely worth investing in a portable jet washer, battery-powered one, if you are thinking about racing. In the UK, at least. Maybe not overseas. In Spain and things, where it's much nicer. So yeah, it's the back end of the race. Fatigue's kicking in now. Will riders still be taking the A lines as fatigue kicks in? If they've got a good gap, maybe they'll elect to the B, play it a bit safer. But then there's the ego thing, having the confidence. If you're feeling confident, you just keep riding the A. If Cameron has got a good gap, maybe he's going to back it off a bit. Obviously, we said earlier about how punches and things may be something to consider, but maybe he's going to save his next world champs. It depends what the coach is saying. He'll be getting coaching feedback from his staff on the side of the team, the track even. saying whether to push on or whether to ease back. Now he's got a big gap and just bring it home. Likewise, if people know they're not going to win, then maybe they'll just let it go and save their legs for another day, because this is the last big race of the UK season. But as you know, lots of these boys are racing overseas on the World Cups and Continental Cups and stuff. So yeah, it's a lot going into planning and peaking for these races. Right, some riders come past the commentary booth. Not quite sure who they are. So we believe this is the last lap, because these riders may have been lapped already and will be getting pulled, just out of shot perhaps. Oh, we've got 3 riders coming in. No. Who are these guys? Yeah. Cool. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We believe they finished, but the cameras missed it. So, yeah, keep your eye on the results online. I think it's Smart Timing Online or something like that, .co.uk. So check that out for results. Thanks again for tuning in. And we'll see you again soon. If we don't see you before, have a nice off season, and we'll see you next year for more race footage coverage.